Hey, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So glad that you spent a little time with me today. So, why is now the time to write your book? Well, today, Lizas Garcia is going to talk to us about why now is the time. She's the author of the recently released 90-Day Author. She's a former tech CEO. She founded one of the first telecom professional services firms in the US when she was, get this, 27 years old. She brought the company to market. She built offices in Seattle and Portland, and then sold it and moved into publishing in 2014. She's got a lot of great stuff that we're going to talk about today. Just so you know, she's the mother of two daughters, 13 and 15, part of the Smile Ministry, City Life Church in Tampa, and has devoted her life to her family and her church. She ran a full marathon. She golfs. She plays the violin, piano, and get this, she's a USTA tennis maniac. So I am super jacked that she's here. What's up, Liza? How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm not playing enough tennis, I can tell you that. But I'm
right?
Great. I know. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, good to see you.
It's good to see you too, my friend. So cool. So, hey, I love the name of your company is Now Publishing, but let's talk about why now? Why is now a great time to write your book? Why should you get it done in the next 90, 120 days?
Right. Well, even without COVID, there's a sense of urgency because we are in the age of content. Period. Right. If we know anything, I mean, what is everyone telling you to do? Make sure you're engaging with social media, build up your social media, make sure you do your digital marketing. I mean, all of that is what it's leading to the content that you produce, you engage with, you build your network in. We are in the age of content. So if you buy into that, which you should, because it's all around us, then you should understand that if you don't publish your book and your content in your book, then someone else will decide that content that defines you or defines your business. So the deliverer of the best content is a book. So it really is timely, and it's important right now that you become a book author and you write your content and publish it.
So we're talking nonfiction books specifically, right? We're talking about a book that actually used to grow your business, not some fiction fable or something like that. But how do we decide, what is the content of our book? You talk about that our content is going to be decided for us. People are going to assume that that's what it is. So how do we decide what the heck that content is? Because there's so much of it out there.
Yeah, no, good question. We call them our business brand books. And so, yes, we specialize in building that. How we decide is it's actually something that comes out in a process that we have. The very first meeting we have with a new client is called a mind map book build. And in that meeting, we ask for 3.5 hours from our clients, whether it's on Zoom or in person. And basically, it circles around. I'm seeing the form in my mind, but it circles around. The question is, what makes you, your business, your message impactful? And so we have to define that. And to be honest, we have business authors come in and they think that they have a whole message and they start telling us about it. But when we go back to that core idea, it becomes completely different. So it's the question that's asked to the business person of why you versus your competitor. How have you been successful versus the competition? What is unique and different about you, your business, your brand, your company, your services? That's what your book's about. So once you answer that question, then all the chapters come around that.
Okay. So why you versus your competitor? What makes you unique? Now, unique is a word often bandied about, right? What does that really mean? Let's break that down a little bit more to help people understand, because I would argue, right, that everybody has something that's different about them, but it's sometimes hard to put their fingers on. So can you break that down a little bit more for me, please?
Sure, of course. And one of my favorite sayings is, and it's in the Bible, nothing new under the sun. Right. So if you buy into that, which I do, and, we know that, nothing new under the sun. Here's what I say to that. I say, yes, but it might not be new, but there's a new perspective at looking at it. There's a new way of, talking about it, positioning it, packaging it, and that. And so the other thing that will have happen at this mind map time is our head of publishing. I've heard her say this many times. You can't say this because there's 10 other books right now on the shelves in the business genre section that say that exact thing. So let's say something new. So, challenging that, okay, well, what really is unique out there? It's not that we're saying that, that you invented the Rubik's Cube, which happened to be a new thing when it came out, right? It's this idea of your approach to solving a customer's issue, your approach to putting something in the marketplace that might already be there. That's what's unique. your approach and how you look at it in the perspective. So we really, net it out, because there is tons of competition in the publishing world, as we know. I think it's every 5 minutes an ebook is uploaded. I mean, it's crazy competition. And who's our competition? Amazon. Now publishing as great as we are and all of that. I mean, are you kidding me? Are we ever going to rank higher than Amazon? Right. So it's more about that part. And then also the other idea is that even though things might not be brand new, a lot of us, especially those who have been in business for a while, we want to keep those fundamentals in front of us. We need to remember that, asking for help as just a basic 101 thing, is something that maybe we should do when we're struggling with a business issue. So that's kind of the take that we do for business books.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? It's the way that you say it, not necessarily what you say, right? I mean, writing a sales book, it's simple, right? You prospect, you build relationships, you close business, you follow up, and you follow back. I mean, that's not new, but how you present it, your stories are different, your point of view, your experiences, who you are, how you talk about that, very, very different. And I think that's important to understand, because a lot of folks, I mean, I know that is a discouragement. Right? When we say the unique, it's like, well, hold on. This has been told. I've suffered from that myself, right? I think a lot of times I say, well, crap, that's already been said 1,000 times. But I realize how I say it is absolutely different, or the energy that I put behind it, or the order that I put it in. Yeah. And that's really good. Yeah. Really good. So cool. So let's talk about your journey a little bit, because I think it's helpful, because you weren't always a writer, right? You started a business. So when you started that business, I mean, did you have any idea that you were ever going to write a book?
Well, so, there was two businesses for me. I mean, I was an IBM engineer out of college. I was hired by IBM. They owned IBM Rome, which was telecommunications, put me into that company, and I ran that company. I have a business degree. So I was just business, tech business, period. I moved here 7 years ago, still technology as a position. And I was told to write a book. And I'm told those reasons that I'm going to tell you right now. Instant credibility, build outside your network, the whole gamut. There's a presentation that we teach is like 10 or 15 reasons to write a business book. I'm told to do that. I was in a program called KPI. And the next thing I know, I've written my book, Never Drink Coffee During a Business Meeting, some of it a play, because Starbucks was one of my clients. And I'm thrust into the world of publishing. But so that thrusts me into publishing, thinking it's for myself. And now I've been the COO for about 5 years of this company now publishing. And I see the value. And now I'm 3 books in, 2 of them I co-authored into publishing. But I'll tell you, the writing, the beautifulness of the writing of my books are done from editing, for sure. So I'm not going to take credit for that. I'm a fairly good writer, but I don't have that writing talent. And so thank goodness we have Shirley Jump. I think of her. That's our head of our writing and editing department. But it changed my life. I mean, being an and that's the one thing I say over and over. And I've heard our clients say that writing a book changes your life. And you can't describe it, and you won't anticipate it. You know that too. Look how your life has been changed by being a published author.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my life is completely different. My book actually turns 15 on the 30th of this month. And I think about where I was 15 years ago. My goodness, there's not a piece of it that resembles my life now. And it's just so interesting. Things change, opportunities happen. I've been blessed with that. And I absolutely recommend for anybody thinking, hey, I should write a book. I do agree that now is the time. We have so much to give, and our voices need to be heard. So with that, right? So you kind of went into that. You got pushed in there by your organization, which is really cool. Some organizations don't support that. So how do we get that support behind us, Liza? How do we make sure that happens so that people can be so that it can be successful? Because that's one of the things I know my first book maybe didn't get as much push as I'd have liked, because I didn't have all the support that I expected to get behind it, because the publisher actually went dark 2 weeks after because they had a credit card breach. So I was without a publisher for a whole year, which is a story for another time. But how do you do that, right? How do you make sure that you get the right people behind you?
Right. Well, so what's been a very educational part of my role at now publishing is I get to sit across from people like you that tell us all these stories that that maybe they've been working on a book for 30 years. Maybe they published with a publisher that went out of business. Maybe they met with a publisher that took their money and didn't produce anything. It's been really crazy, the different stories we've heard. Now, we've also heard stories where people will say, I know in my spirit, or I know in myself, or the universe is telling me to write a book. I love that, because then I'm saying, okay, now you're sitting across from me. Let's make this happen. So we hear all of that. And what I love about what you just said was, you didn't have the support for a year. So now you know what you should have, based on that. And that's sort of what happened with me. I do like the publisher of my first book. I respect them, but I knew where they were lacking. I saw it for myself. And one of the things was, of course, they're a traditional publisher, and they did not promote my book. They said, congratulations, Liza, here's your book. And oh, by the way, go hire a PR firm, which I did, and hire another one, which I did. So what I saw through my journey, and mine was about 6 years ago now, what I saw was what I thought publishing was missing. So our company, and part of that is what you just talked about, the support. Part of that is, and actually, sorry, let me finish my thought here. Part of it is that who is selling your book, who is promoting your book. And it's not just, we'll give you a book landing page. It's actually actively, monthly, weekly, promoting your book in front of those people that are your audience. And for the business brand book, it's actually should be in front of potential clients, period. It's great. Go do a book signing wherever you want and read a little bit of your book in front of a bookstore, but that's not your potential clients. And, a business brand book, and we even say in our company, we guarantee you'll get at least one client, but a business brand book should be in front of and be marketed to your potential clients. That's who you're writing it for. So back to how do you get that support? First of all, if you're listening and to this podcast now and you're saying, I want to write my business brand book, definitely do your homework. Interview and vet publishers to make sure that not only are they talking the right talk and they look good on social media and all that stuff that's really not that really important in big scheme of things. Make sure they show you a business brand book they wrote. Make sure they give you a client, a business brand client that says, actually, I've gotten 7 or 6 clients, from this book. The proof's in the pudding, just like making sure that your content is authentic. Make sure whoever you work with is authentic. And I think that might be the first answer to how can you make sure you're lined up with the right successful and support that you need. I think the other thing is that when I wrote my book, I didn't know what I was doing. I was writing 10 chapters, and you might have had the same experience, Phil, where, I had all these files all over the place. I didn't know how to put them together. I just knew I needed to write a book. And so I started writing about my journey, as a tech CEO and my mentoring ideas and all this stuff. What I did that was the best thing I did, not even knowing I made the right decision, is I found, fortunately, an amazing content editor. And she was that one that said, all right, this is how we number the chapters together. And this is how we put this book together. And then I was fortunate enough to find a good traditional book publisher. But the support that you need is something that we've done in our company, where we, like I said, we start with that mind map book build. And we take you through the whole process. We give you the expertise of the editing and the expertise of the marketing and the book cover and the images and all of that you need. We impart that knowledge on you. You're not alone, and you can do it. And that's the hardest part. People will say, why can't I write a book? It used to be because I don't have time, but now with COVID, people have time. So that's great. But the second objection was, I don't know how to put my arms around it. It seems like an unsurmountable mountain, right? Yeah. So that's why we do what we do. And we work with our authors weekly author check-ins. I mean, we're the experts, so we should lead a new author. And hasn't always how it's been, or I don't know another company like that, of course.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting to me to hear, because to your point, it is not about getting just your book published. You want to get it sold, and you want to get business off of that. And I think that's a really important distinction, because I'll tell you what, right? You can go to Kindle Direct and you can publish a book tomorrow. I mean, really, you can turn something in a PDF that doesn't take any talent and it doesn't take anything, but that doesn't indicate that you're really a good author. And by a good author, I mean something that's aligned with your brand, something that's aligned with your business, something that's going to help your business grow. It's going to be a business card that you printed on your laser printer at home, as opposed to being a good piece of work that you can stand behind and stand on top of and be part of your platform, be a plank in that platform. Is that one of the things that you're saying as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's so important, that idea that, and yes, you can hire people to create space and all of that to self-publish. But here's the good message, or the message that I got. I got that writer's fatigue when I was writing my Never Drink Coffee book with my content editor. I was over it. And it's so funny because all authors will get there. They usually get there about chapter 7. And we're like, okay, we know you're at this threshold, but you're not over it because of this. She advised me. She said to me, I love it. She said to me, Liza, this book will live in perpetuity. This book represents you. You want to be proud of this book every time you pick it up, every time you talk about it, every time someone says, oh, is this your book? And she was 100% right. And the issue that we see with self-publishing, or people that just want to get the book out there and they have spelling issues, they have grammar issues, content doesn't make sense. It's not, they just wanted to finish it just to say they wrote a book. It's not that. And it represents that person. And it makes me sad. And I've met them. I've sat across from them and looked at their books. And I just feel bad because I know they're this professional, amazing person, but the book sure doesn't put them in that light. So, and it is just like anything, just because I might be able to figure out by watching YouTube how to put oil in my car. Really, do I know how to do that? I mean, maybe I should. That might not be a good example, but you know what I mean? I mean, no, hire an expert that knows what they're doing to help you. And, I mean, that's all of our clients. I mean, I think we've had one client out of about 40 some titles, we might be more than that now, that had a writing background. Most of our clients, they have a business background. They're an expert in that, but they're not an expert in writing and format editing and copy editing and content editing and everything else. So, yeah.
No, that makes sense. And that's nice to hear, that you don't necessarily have to be a writer to write your book, which is really, really strong. So what's the biggest surprise that people have when they choose to work with your team? Or what's the biggest surprise that you had is in writing your books?
Well, surprise. Can I say, I'll answer surprise, but I also want to say what's one of the most fun parts of it. And it's happening right now. Thanks. We have a gal, her book is called Moving into Millions. She is in real estate. She has a radio show. She's a rock star and she's writing a book. She wants it to be a 5-part series. We're like, let's start with book 1. It really is good content, but where we're at in the process with her, and she's just loving it. And it reminded me of this when you said surprise, is she's at the book cover part. And what we do is, it might be a little different than other publishers, but I think we've given her like 70 concepts of book covers. Now, it's a little excessive, but the concepts kept coming in. We have a team that does these concepts. And so we didn't stop it. Typically we do about 50, but what's fun about it, not only just seeing the different concepts, is it's becoming real. And it really is, as you know, what we tell our clients is it's uphill, and the big push and the most amount of hours you're going to spend initially getting a first draft. And that's your 10 chapters. That's the typical market size of a book, is 10 chapters, about 25,000 words is what is needed. That's the hard part, and the part where you're, working on your chapters with our editors and that whole thing. But once you hit first draft, it's all fun and downhill, and it starts to become reality. And the fun thing, not only with her excitement with the book covers, is that she's seeing another dream that she's had is coming to fruition. Now she can see it. So that's a fun part / surprise. The other part of that, since I'm on this vein, that's one of my favorite days in my job here, is on what happens is when the book's complete, we go to print, and we work with local printers. So we go to print and we give them a galley copy. And the galley copy is the book 100% done. It's the weight of the cover. It's, the spine, the colors, we put pictures in our books. It's all completely done, and it's called a galley copy. We go and get it. We pick up one book off the printer, and we hand it to the author, and that's just their best day. And the idea is that's their very last chance to go through it for like the 100th time, but in person, they make sure it's exactly right before we go to print. So, I do have a fun job that way, because I do get to help people accomplish their dreams. And it is that even in my technology company, I loved my job because it was a project. So Nike was one of my clients. We would take care of a particular building when it was under construction, and we would leave when the person was there using their technology, and it was all good. So that start to finish part of our job is fun in both of these industries. What I will say that's been probably the most rewarding for me to see from my end of it with our authors is just to see where they grow. Like I can think of a client right now that's a business client, and she, her aspirations with the book was to speak more. like the National Speaker Association, and just to get out there. And she was timid about it. And we actually even write and give a professional speech to every one of our book authors. And we wrote her speech, and just to see how strong she has become and who she's become from the first speech that she's given to now, it's very rewarding on that end to see the personal and professional growth of our authors.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Good stuff there. Lots of good rewards from working with people. You probably learn a lot of different topics as well as their business branded books, which is really cool. But if someone wants to get started today, what is the first step that they should take towards, obviously they could hire you, right? But what's the first step that someone should take if they're considering writing a book and considering being an author?
I think that the first step would be, I think if you're really serious about it, what we tell our authors to start at first is we tell them to go to the bookstore, we used to say, but now go online and look in your genre at the books that are there, so that you picture in your mind, my book is going to be right next to these books in my particular genre, or my book's going to be one that's going to be a suggested read, right, for people on Amazon at one day, and see how you can be different and impactful and unique within that genre and within those books, because that's really, like I said, that's really where we start. We don't take all our clients. There's a number of clients that we have turned down just because we want a book that's marketable. Just end of day, we share in royalties. We're about the promotion and all of that. So we are not and we're also not a team of 100 people. So we are very particular, and we're getting even more so regarding the book. So it's got to be marketable. It's got to be unique. We've got to have an author that the promotion that they want is something that we're going to be able to fit into as a team. And it is a team effort. It is the author and it is the publishing house. So again, like you said, what can you do to start? That's where we start. You start and then do your homework. We call them discovery calls. Have discovery calls, have discovery chats, check out everything. And what you'll find, because we found this when we did the infrastructure to set this company up, is that the world of publishing is very kludgy. There are no industry standards. There are no, what is the price? There is no industry standard price. But of course, there's ranges and there's, offerings and all of that can drive it. But like I said, at one point, do your homework, do your discovery, ask for what I think is the most important is ask for what books they've published recently, ask for client referrals recently. That's just sound business 101, but it should definitely be applied to an industry like publishing, because everyone and anyone can enter the market.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So do your homework, folks. See who you're in competition with. Make sure you got a somewhat of a unique point of view. Do some discovery on that, right? Do your research. And then last but not least, ask for those referrals. Great points, Liza. So folks want to learn more about you. Of course, they can go to nowscpress.com. But what's your favorite social media? If somebody wants to talk directly to you, Liza, where would you send them?
Yeah. Well, publishwithnow.com is our good website, but publish at nowscpress.com. But again, our website, I was just letting Phil know that we do have a program called the Great Write-In. It's starting in 2 Fridays. It's a 6-week online program, and we will teach you how to publish on your own. Very low price point. It's only a program we did once. That's why this is called the Great Write-In 2. We will only do it one more time this year, but we just want to help people achieve their dreams. We just want to let people be the business book author they need to be. And I think this as well, Phil, that it's been said, it's definitely been said that the book is the new business card. But more than that, it's been said that you will be left behind if you aren't a business book published author very shortly in the marketplace. I mean, your clients will say, I got 5 people that have written a book on family law and you don't have one. I mean, it's true. I've heard that for 5 or 6 years. So, we want to help you with that. And we have that program, but yeah, publish at nowscpress.com. It's great. Or Google us.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you so much, my friend. Really awesome stuff. So folks, lots of stuff you could learn today, lots of takeaways. My biggest takeaway from today is now is the time to publish your book. Now is the time to get your ideas out before your competition does. If you've got some extra time, now is your time. Put a good team behind you and write a great book that you can be proud to stand behind. Liza and her team at nowscpress.com would be happy to talk to you about that. Give them a look and certainly do the work. It is absolutely worth it. Being a published author is one of my favorite things in the world, not because I loved writing, but because I love the outcome. Thanks so much, Lisa, for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate you. Good times.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again.